How about now? Do we have sound now? No sound. How's that? I had the mic off. Okay, sorry about that. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I'm dealing with laryngitis, not feeling 100% well, got a bit of a cold, so I'm a little bit out of wax, but I'm going to try to keep the stream going. So JNVR had news. AI loan advisor generated over 4,000 deals worth over 25 billion to date in 2024. That's the news. It's got a 4.5 million float. Volume is only 5.7 million, and it's currently up 32%. But you see a huge sell-off. Thanks, Juan. Appreciate you looking out for the sound. Thank you very much. Let's go to the 1 minute. This chart does not look at all interesting. Same type of situation. We want to see a break of this downtrend. This downtrend has to be broken in order for it to be interesting. And we have a significant resistance area right at VWAP right over here. So this particular ticker, not interesting at all. SNGX is the leading gainer today. And it continues to trend upward. It is currently up 189%. Again, the news that expanded high-bright treatment demonstrating positive outcomes in early stage cutaneous T-cell lymphoma. So this is a hot ticker at this point. It's under 1 million float, 959,000 shares. That is it. Volume 14 million. This is the ticker that is moving. Now, this is a 1 minute chart, and it still looks bullish as it's forming another candle right over here, which is a bottom tail as it tests $6. Strong resistance at $7.51. We still have room for it to move, but the price action is extremely extended. Let's take a look at it at the 5 minute. You can see it just shot up like a complete arrow, okay? This is the strongest ticker right now, up 198%. Soon probably will hit 200%. We're watching, we're waiting, and it's currently up 100 and, well, we got 204%. 204%. 204%. 209%. 212%. 214%. Remember, strong resistance at 751. We're at 640. 640. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying watching this stock go parabolic with us, consider sharing. Sharing is always very helpful. It's always very helpful. Sharing is caring. All right, so it is extended. It needs to have a pullback. We can look at the RSI. It is clearly in the oversold area. Clearly, we just saw a short squeeze, and it's trying to reclaim that top wick. Let's see what it looks like on the 1 minute. We can see that the candle is a red candle. A pullback would not be out of the question. Let's see how much of a pullback we get. I'd love to see it stay above this level right here, and specifically above this level over here. If it could stay there, that would make it much more interesting. It would establish that it's holding its position. So far, it seems to be holding out pretty decent on the 1 minute. Let's see how far it decides to pull back. Next candle, red. Let's see. Again, overbought. Certainly overbought in the RSI. We got our first large red candle on the 1 minute. You can see it right here. The prevailing candle is still green. It's due for a pullback. Can it hold this level at around $6? $6 is a significant support area. Let's see if it can hold it. Looks like it's trying to give me a bottom tail. It's trying. It's still red. Let's see what happens. The bulls and the bears, they're battling it out right now. SNGX has hit 212%. It was higher than that before. We're still watching it. Let's see if it's going to do another leg. Does it squeeze some more? Or does it continue to pull back? There's quite a bit of thickness in level 2 at this point. There's certainly a lot of buyers and sellers here. Okay, it's pulling back again towards the $6 mark. It's still above it. Does the next candle go red or does it go green? That's going to be important. Looks like it's pulling back. Okay, so we'll come back and check this out. What a nice run. 206%. 12, how much was it?
16.
216%. 216%. Let's go to Peggy, see what Peggy's doing. And it formed this small little inverted head and shoulders. Again, I'm not putting too much weight into it until it breaks above, if it breaks above this downtrend. So Peggy, not interesting at this point. It was up 110% in pre-market early on, and of course we called it in the Discord. That's what we do. All right, let's go to the next ticker that we're looking at, ZAPP. And this ticker went absolutely bananas yesterday. Right now, it is at a very strong resistance area at $14.25, and it looks like we have the makings of a head and shoulders or triple top on the 1 minute chart. Let's see what it looks like on the 5 minute, and that would be a bearish type of pattern, which would make complete sense since it is at strong resistance. And yes, we have on the 5 minute a head and shoulders pattern. You got a shoulder over here, another shoulder over here, and you got the head right over here. And unless we could see a break of 14.25, we may see a potential drop in price at this point. So ZAPP at this point, not particularly very enticing, but SNGX is continuing its move up. So let's go back to it. Looking at it as it pushes up 228%, it keeps squeezing again. There is certainly a strong resistance level at $7.51, but we are nowhere near that yet. We are still about 90 cents away from there. Strong resistance will hit at around $7.51 if the price action keeps moving up. It is super duper extended. Look at this candle right here. It needs to pull back in order to stay healthy, but it is still squeezing upwards. 233, 235, 236%, 236%. What an amazing squeeze. Again, on news, treatment demonstrating positive outcomes in early stage cutaneous T-cell lymphoma. Float under 1,959,000 shares. Volume almost 17,000. So we now have resistance at the high of day right over here. Let's go ahead and put a graffiti pencil out there at $6.77. This is certainly the stock that has the most attention so far this morning. Let's go ahead and zoom in. And let's bring this down a little. And this is the area that I'm seriously looking at. So we got resistance here, and then we got potentially very strong resistance at $7.51 if it makes it down to that number. Let's go to a longer time frame and take a look and see what's going on with this stock. So we could see right over here, this area right here, 751 is an area where there is a lot of touches, both support as well as support and resistance, support, and right around here, a little bit of right here, this price action is just below this area, and right now the price action is below this area. So this is on the 180-day chart. Going to the 5-minute chart, take a look at the 5-minute chart. And Juan wants to see GVH. Let's take a look at it. GVH, 58%. Globevend Holding, gearing up last mile delivery capability in New Zealand. It is a 3 million float stock, and the volume is only 638. It went as high as 70%. The volume is not there, and we have a very long wicked candle over here, which would be indicative of a reversal in price action. And you could see that the price action is relatively not here. So there's not a ton of volume on this particular ticker at this juncture. We could look at the RSI, and the price action is certainly in the overbought area. That doesn't mean that this stock can't recover, but it is pulling back and it's moving on light volume. So not particularly super attractive at this moment, but definitely a side chart type of situation. So let's go ahead and put it on the side chart. Juan, thank you so much for sharing that ticker. Appreciate that. Okay, so we got that on the side chart. Let's go back to SNGX and see what's going on with it. Let's see what's happening. And it too has a top tail on the 5-minute, which would be indicative of a continued pullback. It was a top tail, almost a doji, but for the most part, I would say a top tail, and the next 5-minute candle is red. Let's go to the 1-minute, see what's going on. Again, there was such a parabolic move on it that a pullback would be in order. Okay, so on the 1-minute, we have a small little head and shoulders type of situation. Shoulder, head, shoulder. So it could be that the price action will pull back. Again, we want to see it hold above $6. If it can hold above $6, maybe we can see another attempt to keep moving upward. Let's keep an eye on it, but it certainly does look like it's pulling back. We could see that the price action on the RSI is in the overbought area, and the RSI is starting to pull backward, and we're starting to see that the volume candles are in fact diminishing. Now, this is understandable because you just had a massive parabolic move, which is even more clear on the 5-minute chart. Look at this. This price action went almost completely straight up. This is an insane move by SNGX, and SNGX has my most attention at this point. But let's take a look at some other tickers. Let's take a look at ASTI. And ASTI is currently down, but it is a micro penny stock. Not a lot of volume on it. Heavy float. Looks kind of sloppy. Not interesting. Not interesting. Let's go back to another ticker. Let's go to Wiener and see if it has resolved itself, or is it still trending downward? And it looks like it's still going down. Yeah, it is absolutely not interesting to me unless it breaks this downtrend. It has to break the downtrend. Let's go to PEGY. Same thing. It needs to break this downtrend. We have a possibility of an inverted head and shoulders, which would be a bull reversal type of pattern. We do see a long candle here. We need to see this candle break through, or subsequent candle break through this downtrend, and then you still have significant resistance at VWAP, which is roughly around $2.15. So we need to see a break in this trend line, price action start moving away from this trend line, and we need to see it start marching towards the VWAP. The news on Pineapple Energy is that it has it skyrocketed on Conduit Capital deal. In other words, it's working with a company that's going to help it with capital, getting capital and things of that nature. The float is 6.5 million, volume currently 13.6 million, and we did a video on this last night, and of course we alerted it very early in our Discord last night. So if you're not in the Discord, what are you doing? What are you doing? Go ahead and join the Discord. Go ahead and join the Discord. All right, that's what the story is. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're saying. All right, so that's PEGY. Let's go to the next ticker. Let's go to JNVR. JNVR. And it did, in fact, break the downtrend, but there is not a tremendous amount of volume on this. So, okay, it broke the downward trend line. I need to see it break above $1.15 to become at all interesting. Janiver's AI loan advisor generated over 4,000 deals worth over $25 billion to date in 2024. But the float is kind of low at 4.5 million, but the volume is only 6.32. So JNVR, you're going to be a little bit of a side chart type of situation. You passed the first phase of breaking the downtrend. Now we need to see you break past the VWAP. So we'll come back to you. SNGX is curling back up. Let's take a look at it. Again, to me, I like this ticker a lot. It has news. Expanded hybrid treatment demonstrating positive outcome in early stage cutaneous T-cell lymphoma. News out 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Float under 1 million at 959,000 shares, and the volume is only 18 million. Only 18 million. So that's what we got going on with this. That's what we have. All right. Resistance currently at $6.50. Obviously, it is in the overbought area of the 5-minute chart. Let's take a look at it on the 1-minute chart, and we can see that the price action is certainly in the overbought area on the RSI. This could either end up being a double top at 677, or it could be an ABCD pattern, and quite frankly, there are a lot of eyes on this ticker, so I'm going to say that we probably are going to be looking at an ABCD pattern at some point. Maybe it will happen now, and if it is an ABCD pattern, here's your A, here's your B, here's your C, and we're looking for it to break through this resistance area of 677. If it can't break 677, then we would be forming a double top, at which point that would be a bearish pattern. A lot of it is going to depend on whether or not it gets volume. It needs volume. So we'll come back and take a look at SNGX, which is currently moving nicely. We'll keep an eye on it. Let's go and see what else is out there. RSLS is another ticker that was moving, but it basically did a round trip. So at this point, not interesting at all. Let's go to another ticker. Let's try BTCS. No volume. No. Not interesting at all. Not interesting at all. Let's go to SNGX one more time and see how it's resolving itself. So it looks like it is forming a double top. So let's get this drawing out of the way. We need to see it break through 677 to be interesting. It needs to break that level. That is the resistance area. If it breaks 677, we could potentially see a test of 751, which is a significant resistance area. That's where I would expect a lot of the shorts would start to cycle around this particular ticker. So that's what's going on. But right now we see consolidation happening in this area. It's creating a range right over here, a channel, if you will. And we need to see it stay above $6 and break 677 to continue to be of interest. Let's go and move to other tickers as we're looking for other potential movers. CHAA is another ticker that we're going to take a look at. Not a lot of volume and not interesting at all. So some of these tickers are moving on very light volume and they're not very interesting. Let's go take a look at GVH that Juan mentioned. GVH, let's go there. And it looks quite bearish at this point. This looks like a head and shoulders pattern on the 1 minute. Let's see what it looks like on the 5 minute. And it looks like a head and shoulders pattern as well on this 5 minute chart. So if we go ahead and get the graffiti pencil out, here's the head, this really ugly top wick. Here's your shoulder, and you have an irregular shoulder right here. And that would be quite bearish. We would need to see the price action reclaim itself over here as a first level and over here as a second level, and then of course we would need to see a retest of the high, which is $1.41, which is right over here. So for now, not particularly schmexy, as I like to say. Let's go back to SNGX as it continues to channel on the 5 minute. Let's go to the 1 minute, and it is still channeling. It has formed this double top, which is of concern to me. I want to see this 9 EMA start curling and break through this tiny level right over here. So let's go ahead and show that. Right over here we got these two double tops that I'm not interested in. I want to see the price action pierce through it with authority and get through 677. If not, this could be a potential pullback. Remember, the trend line is all the way down here and VWAP is all the way down here, so we have quite a bit of an extension in price action from where VWAP is, so that is of particular concern. We will come back to you though. I still like SNGX so far for the rest of the day. Let's see what happens. Let's see if they don't dilute. I hate when stocks dilute because the price just drops rapidly. That's why I like to scalp. DBL moms, I like to scalp. I'm a scalper. I'm a scalper. Yes, GNVR, another ticker we're going to look at. And it has broken through the resistance area, so GNVR is becoming interesting as it's trying to test VWAP, so that is the next resistance area. JNVR, my apologies, JNVR. And the story with JNVR is that it is a 4.5 million stock. We have another ticker that's actually moving right now. Let's see if it's got anything going on with it. QURE, heavy floated stock moving up 39%, 46 million float. So it's a heavy floated stock moving on very low volume. And the news that it has is updated data for its Huntington disease therapy. Very heavy floated stock, extended, but it is moving based on its news, which came out at 7:45. I'll put it on a side chart. I don't love the float. I don't love the lack of volume, but we'll keep an eye on it and put it on a side chart. Meh. Too heavy of a float, not loving the float at all. Let's go back and take a look at some of the other tickers that we are checking out. JNVR was another one. Let's take a look at that one. And that one looks like it's forming a potential double bottom on the 1 minute. So let's change this to a 5 minute and see what it looks like on the 5 minute. And on the 5 minute, it still looks like a potential double bottom here and here, or you can call it potentially a cup and handle. So we're looking at this region right over here, which I will highlight right there, and we can get rid of this trend line because it broke that trend line. So let's go ahead and do that. And we could say that this is also forming a wedge. It's forming a wedge, so maybe right around here to here, and possibly from here, from here to there, forming a wedge. So if this in essence, this top part of the wedge is resistance, this bottom part of the wedge is support. If we can see a break in this top part of the resistance area, we could see a test of VWAP and price action moving up. We could see that VWAP has actually moved down, so let's get that red line out of the way as the VWAP has changed position. Let's put the VWAP a little bit lower, which should make it a little bit easier for a test of this VWAP right over here. So we want to see this price action break through this downtrend right here and pierce through VWAP and hold above VWAP and have authority. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could kindly share the stream, that would be very, very, very much appreciated. Very much appreciated. So that's what we got going on over here so far, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to call it an early day because my voice is completely shot and I want to save it for the rest of the week. All right, it's Coach Nick Money and the crew, and we love you. And if you'd like to join us with our Discord, go ahead and join us on the Discord. You can see the links in the description areas. You can see the links on Twitter, and as